All right, the government's just dropped its latest budget, and it's got everyone talking. But what does it actually mean for you and your money? In this explainer, we're going to slice through the jargon and get right to the heart of how these changes are going to affect your wallet.
Yeah, this is the big one, isn't it? The question on everybody's mind. So let's dive right in and find out what this autumn budget really means for your money.
Okay, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the changes hitting your pocket directly. Then, we'll explain a key concept behind them, something called fiscal drag. After that, we'll zoom out to the big economic picture, cover what this means for businesses and investors, and then wrap it all up with the one final takeaway you really need to know.
First up, let's talk about the changes that are going to affect your personal finances right away. These are the ones that really hit home.
And this is a really big deal. That personal allowance, the amount you can earn completely tax-free, is now frozen solid until 2031. Think about that. Even if your pay goes up over the next few years, that tax-free chunk of it is just stuck.
And it's not just stopping with your salary. If you've got savings or investments, listen up. The tax you pay on both your savings interest and your dividend income is going up. And pay close attention to the dates here. That dividend tax hike actually kicks in a full year earlier.
And there's more. That tax relief lots of us have been claiming for working from home, well, that's being scrapped. And for anyone thinking about estate planning, the inheritance tax threshold is also frozen until 2031. As house prices and asset values rise, that means way more estates are going to get caught by that tax. Oh, and the same freeze applies to the threshold for national insurance contributions, too.
Okay, so this brings us to a really crucial idea. To understand what's really going on with all these freezes, you need to know about this thing called fiscal drag. It's often called a stealth tax, and you're about to see why.
So here it is, fiscal drag. See, the government isn't officially raising the tax rates, that 20% or 40% you see. Instead, they're just freezing the thresholds. So as your wages go up over time, even just to keep pace with inflation, you get dragged into paying more tax. You might even find yourself in a whole new, higher tax bracket. Your buying power hasn't really gone up, but your tax bill certainly has.
And this table just lays it out perfectly. Take a look. Let's say you're earning 35 grand in 2025. Now, fast forward 5 years, you get a pay bump to 40 grand. Sounds great, right? But hold on. That tax-free allowance, it hasn't moved an inch. So a much bigger slice of your salary is now taxable. You're paying more tax, even if that raise was just meant to cover the rising cost of, everything.
And the impact of this is huge. The UK's independent forecaster, the Office for Budget Responsibility, ran the numbers. They're predicting that these freezes will create nearly 1,920,000 new higher-rate taxpayers by the 2029-30 tax year alone. A staggering amount of people pulled into a higher tax bracket.
So what does that mean for the government's piggyback? Well, add it all up, and these income tax freezes are set to bring in an extra £56 billion a year by 2030. That is an absolutely massive amount of money, and it's coming almost entirely from this fiscal drag we've been talking about.
So you're probably asking, why are they doing this? And it's a totally fair question. The answer really lies in the bigger picture. We have to zoom out from our own bank accounts and take a look at the health of the entire national balance sheet.
And here's the backdrop. Economic growth is, it's pretty sluggish. The official forecasts show the economy just kind of ticking along at about 1.5% a year. There's no massive boom on the horizon, which means the government can't just rely on a thriving economy to fill up its coffers with extra tax revenue.
What's really telling here is how that forecast has changed. Just back in March, the outlook was actually pretty optimistic. But now, the OBR has had to revise its numbers downward, bringing them more in line with other, more pessimistic forecasts. So the economic headwinds are definitely getting stronger.
So with a tougher economy comes a big problem, government borrowing. The main goal of this budget really is to get that borrowing under control. You can see the plan right here. They want to slash it by more than half over the next 5 years. And those tax hikes we've been talking about? Yep, that's how they're planning to plug the gap.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about your paycheck, but the ripples from this budget spread much, much wider. Let's take a quick look at how businesses, investors, and property owners are affected.
Yeah, it's not just personal taxes. Take a look. For employers, national insurance is going up, which means higher payroll costs. For investors, a popular tax relief for setting up employee ownership trusts is getting chopped in half. And for property owners, especially those with farms or family businesses, some very generous inheritance tax reliefs are being capped. It's a pretty wide-ranging set of changes.
All right, we have gone through a lot of numbers and a lot of policy, so let's boil it all down. What's the final takeaway? When all's said and done, What does this all mean for you?
Look, the bottom line is this. For most of us, the tax burden is going up, and it's happening mostly through these less obvious stealth measures like fiscal drag. And it's all because the government is trying to get its finances in order while the economy is just not growing very fast.
And really, all of this leaves us with a much bigger question, one that goes way beyond this single budget. With the tax burden set to keep rising for years, what's the right balance? How do we weigh up lower taxes against the need to fund our public services? It's a huge debate about our priorities, and ultimately, it's a choice the whole country is going to have to make.